to our west in New York, there was a lot of more rain than we experienced here, so frankly we were quite lucky. Just some statistics here. We've had so far on one of our rain meters 0.7 inches of rain only, experienced a 1.75 foot storm surge, 0 power outages in New Haven. 0 power outages in New Haven so far. We're still anticipating the possibility of heavy rain. We're going into low tide now, but if that heavy rain continues, high tide is close to midnight tonight, and so we could potentially see some more flooding. We are letting people know in the specific areas that we ask people to evacuate that they can go back to their homes. We're keeping, as folks know, we have 3 sites around the city that are refuges, areas of refuge. One is a full-on shelter, Career High School. We're keeping that open through the night. We've had around 35 people there, and we're continuing to keep that open until tomorrow morning. For the other 3 sites, the areas of refuge, Nathan Hale, King Robinson School, and Jepson School, we're going to be closing those at 7 p.m. tonight. One more note is that refuse collection will be going on its normal schedule, but we're asking residents to put out their trash bins a little bit later because we still may see some gusts of wind. So around 7 p.m. tonight, we're asking them to wait until then to put their trash bins out. Just want to finally thank our team for the work that they've put into this preparing, and our partners, Red Cross, UI, AMR, and other partners across the city to make sure that we were prepared for this storm. Again, we were very lucky. I'm going to hand it over to Rick Fontana and then to Congresswoman DeLauro with anything that I missed here. Rick.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Appreciate your leadership, and Congresswoman DeLauro, nice to see you. Appreciate you're always here for us. And as the Mayor said, really, thank you to this team. We've been preparing for the past 3 days, getting ready for Tropical Storm, Hurricane Henri. You know, as the Mayor said, we were very, very fortunate. There is some luck. We have been saying since it's been on the map, we'll prepare for the worst and hope for the best. We got the best. And I think 3 things we could take away from it. No injuries, no loss of life, no property damage. That's a win for the city. And we're gonna stay on this. We can't just demobilize here. There is the threat of rain, of flooding, and we'll continue to work on that. But again, I think, as the Mayor said, team effort. We've left no stone unturned. Our partners have been great. As you know, we have a shelter with 35 individuals that we were able to keep off of the street, keep safe, and that's what makes this city shine during crisis. We'll continue to work, and I'm going to turn it back to the Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Mayor, and thanks very much, Rich. And I too want to commend the folks sitting here, and not to be self-serving, but for many years I sat here when I worked for the city during these emergencies, and I know what kind of work that you do and what difference that you make in the lives of the people in this city. And to you, Mayor, and to you, Rich, I want to say a thank you to you. Yes, absolutely prepared, and the hits keep coming for Connecticut, but you pull it together here and made a difference. And the statistics that you both cited were really incredible. Now, it is not expected to be as bad as we anticipated, but we're not in the clear. Has been pointed out, it has moved east, then it downgraded to a tropical storm, less wind and power, but more rain, and what that may mean for flooding. I also want to just mention, I just came from the emergency shelter, and I want to commend you there at the regional, at Career High School. And I want to say the Red Cross had nothing but unbelievable praise for you, Mayor, and for you, Rick, for the work that you've done and the cooperation with them. I had the chance to visit with the 37 people who are there now. They will be open all night, and it's such a hands-on effort, working the staff there working individually with folks to try to help them out, from making sure that a woman who didn't have her medication with her and who hadn't had anything to eat, but to go out and get her, a sandwich, to help provide people with, potentially get them the transportation that they need to get treatment. So It is about the folks who are the most vulnerable, who are being taken care of and sheltered. And I congratulate you, Mayor, and also the Red Cross for the excellent efforts. In terms of the federal side of this equation, you all know that the congressional delegation signed a letter to the President asking for an emergency declaration, which has been granted. The President swiftly granted that, and what that means, Connecticut now has public assistance available, 75% reimbursement, and the assistance with regard to debris removal will be critical. I've been in touch with the Department of Homeland Security. I've asked all of our municipalities. I'm born and raised in this city and represent this city, but I represent 24 other towns as well, and I've been in touch with all of the mayors or first selectmen in the 3rd Congressional District, and chatting with them about what's going on in their communities, and asking them to keep track, and asking New Haven to keep track of all of the expenses that we're incurring, so that becomes part of the emergency declaration. And what I also will be doing is reintroducing something called the Debris Act, which we've been working on for a long time, which would help homeowners in terms of the removal of debris, which can be of assistance to the city as well. Just let me, my office is available for what folks might need. I ask people, as I know the mayor, Rick, have asked folks, don't be out if you don't have to. Don't ignore streets that are flooded because you don't know what the depth of that water is. And we will work together, as we have in the past, to do all that we can to make sure that the city and the city and the cities and the people have what they need in order to, excuse the pun, weather this storm. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thanks, Congresswoman. Any questions from folks?
Mayor, when did you say those people could go back home, the ones that were evacuated?
So immediately, correct? Yeah, we think we're keeping the 3 sites that are refuge sites open until 7, but people can go back home immediately.
Will those continue to be open for people who have power outages if those happen later?
So we think it's unlikely that we're going to see a lot of power outages because most of the wind is behind us. They're going to be open until 7, but if people have severe problems, they can go to Career, which is going to be open all night.
Okay. And I see you have a map from 2014 of a flood zone of New Haven. Do you have an updated one or a percentage of how much of New Haven could flood?
You want to talk about this, Giovanni?
Yeah, that flood map is actually post hurricane or Superstorm Sandy, and we use that as the greatest potential to have to evacuate. So we use that map very closely, but we use what you can see up here on our screens. It's called HERVAC. It's a very timely, real-time, provided by the Department of Homeland Security. It's an asset for towns throughout Connecticut and throughout the country to provide the best data in the most probabilistic area or path that a hurricane will take. So that's what we do use that. It's a very important tool, and everything we do is literally based off the data that we receive from HERVAC. Very, very good tool to use in the Emergency Operations Center. But go ahead, Giovanni.
No, I was just going to say, so the FEMA updates the flood maps periodically. I think that's probably the latest update, and we adjust it.
What percentage of New Haven is potentially floodable?
To be honest, I've never calculated the percentage, but along all the 3 rivers and the harbor, sort of on either side of that, it's probably not a majority of New Haven.
And Rick, you touched on this, we talked about preparing for the worst, but we got the best. But what would you tell people, especially those who are evacuating from their homes, who maybe think that we blew this out of proportion? What's your reaction to that?
We always, our thought is always to over-prepare. We've done that consistently for many years in New Haven. It's easier when we are getting storm reports and updates from experts, but it's easier to upscale before the storm, and then we'll make the determination based on all of our folks that are here in the Emergency Operations Center and those out in the street. It's easier to scale back, never easy to scale up during a storm. So we do our best to over-prepare, and that is by design.
If I could add, honestly, my biggest concern is people see this storm and that we were lucky, and next time it comes around, they say, oh, well, maybe it's not a big deal because last time the city came and asked us to evacuate. So first of all, it wasn't a mandatory evacuation, right? It was a voluntary one. We made that clear as I was knocking on doors on the East Shore last night, made that clear to folks. We were recommending that they get out. But second of all, you look to the west of us, and they were hit very hard with a lot of rain. If we got hit with a lot of rain, we would have had many more problems. If the storm had slowed down even more, we would have been hit by a high tide, or sped up a little bit more, we would have been hit by another high tide, and so that would have been pretty significant. So I don't want people to take the message that the city of New Haven over-prepares so much that you shouldn't take things seriously. It's very much the opposite. We want to make absolutely sure that everyone is safe, and we spend a lot of time as a team analyzing the storm and the pathway, and we'll respond accordingly. One other thing, so street sweeping is going to be going on as regular tomorrow, as usual tomorrow. However, we will not be ticketing, just to give people a little bit more flexibility. So just tomorrow, we will not be ticketing. Let's make that clear, folks. Other questions? Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.